So they were each given a white robe and told to rest a little longer. Now pay attention to this. Until the number of their fellow servants and their brothers should be complete, who were to be killed as they themselves had been. That's an amazing statement. You know, one of the things that we said that we noted last time when we were going through the four horsemen is that in all of this, you see the sovereign hand of God, who is in control of everything that's going on. Remember when we looked at the first horseman, it says that a crown was given to him. Given to him by who? Well, given to him by God, given to him by the Lamb. With the second horseman, we're talking about that he was permitted to take peace from the earth. Permitted from who, right? Well, permitted by God, right? You know, we talk about this whole thing of in the third seal, when you have the famine and everything like that, it says that in verse 8, a quart of wheat for a denarius and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. That's a divine decree spoken through one of the 4 living creatures. You know, that where that declaration is given. Okay, and so we see examples of this where the sovereign hand of God is in all of this. And even though we're not dealing with something here with the 5th seal in judgment enacted on unbelievers, we do see a sense where negative things have happened to these Christians and that they were killed. But I mean, even though it's negative, it's a positive because they're in heaven and they've really won, right? You see all of this. And even when we consider the whole problem of martyrdom, we understand that God is still in control. The slain souls under the altar realized this and understood this, but even the one who gives the answer understands this as well, because it says that they were told to rest a little longer until the number of their fellow servants and their brothers should be complete, who were to be killed as they themselves had been killed. You mean to tell me that there is a set number of martyrs in all of history, a set number that will be reached, no more, no less, but a set specific number that will be reached of martyrs before Jesus Christ comes back? Yes, that's what that's saying there. That's exactly what that's saying there. And so the martyrdom of God's people doesn't catch God himself by surprise. He's not like, oh, how did I allow that to happen? No, God has everything in control. He knows, and there's a specific number, again, whatever that number is, we don't know, that must be reached before the final victory, the final judgment actually takes place. That shows the sovereignty and control that God himself has over everything in human history, even as it relates to the martyrdom of his own people. That also it corresponds to and kind of goes into as well the whole thing of, you know, if you go back to places like Romans chapter 11, where we get this idea where, you know, the final end will come when the full number of the Gentiles has come in. So even there, even from a different perspective and a different metric, from a different metric, we're seeing God's control in his hand in things, as he knows the exact number of Gentiles who will come to faith before everything is called quits on human history. So as we look at this world today, we mentioned this last week, and we'll mention it today, even as it relates to the persecution against God's people, we understand that God is in control. And that alone, listen, I'm going to say it again, God is in control. God's in control, friends. Okay? Even in some of the worst looking things out there, if we know who our God is, and we trust his character, and we know that he's in control and that all things work out together for good for those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose, there's no need for us to be overcome with fear. And one of the things that I mentioned last time, and I'll say again this time, is that if we don't understand the present nature of these things, we're in a much better position, unfortunately, to look at the things around us and react wrongly to things When really, if we look at things from a present day perspective, as it's connected to Revelation chapter 6, I think you're in a better position to react rightly to those things, to have these things build up our faith, that we aren't overcome with fear because God has told us these things ahead of time, that it should drive us to our knees and pray that God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven, and that we continue to go about the way that he has us go. Because if we don't do that, we become fearful, and then our attention gets put on other things, and we start trying to gain victory through political means and that sort of thing. That sort of thing has been going on for years. And I keep asking of the church, why do you keep doing that? Stop it. Stop doing that. You can't do that anymore. But I truly think, friends, and maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you'll disagree with me. I truly believe that if we don't have a present day perspective on things like Revelation 6 or Matthew 24, that affects the way that we look at the here and now. And what you get in the here and now are steps and reactions and reactions to things going on around us now that aren't biblical. And our eye gets taken off the prize because we don't even realize, hey, you know what? We've already been told about stuff like this in the Bible already. And so there's no need for us to worry.